Hello, Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for School Live Letters, Chapter 7. When we last left our heroes, we focused on Aki of the Degeneracy Society. One day I will say that name without stuttering, or maybe not. There's only one more chapter after this one. And specifically her kind of regret over never even really attempting to patching things up with Ayaka. We are reminded how she initially left the militant after seeing Ayaka looking down at the graveyard and smiling. And Aki never asked for clarification as to why Ayaka was smiling. She just left. And now that Ayaka is dead, that leaves her with all these regrets. And it's sort of about her coming to grips with the fact that she can't actually fix that. That's an opportunity that has passed her by, and learning to live with that. It's a really good chapter. If it weren't for the Miki chapter, it'd be my favorite of Letters. But yeah, that being said, let's jump right on into Chapter 7. We got our scan later page here, and then we open with Kurumi digging a shovel. At some point, it's not quite clear when in the timeline this is. She's on her feet, so it's not in the present, and she's also in her school uniform. We also see Miki and Yuri there, and a body. I don't think this is going to be Megune, because I think she's buried on the rooftop, and I don't think it'd be out. I don't think they buried Aozoi, did they? I think they just killed her. I don't know. This could be someone I'm forgetting about. Anyway, Kurumi sort of stands there and asks, "It's our first time, right? Doing this?" And she starts to shovel again. Miki asks, "What do you mean?" "I feel like I've done this before." And we see Kurumi is visibly shaking at something. And Yuri presses, "You must be tired." And Kurumi tells her, "I know. Must be deja vu." And then afterwards, they've set up a grave. And Kurumi looks at it, "Well then." And they walk away. Attached to the cross is Yuki's hat? Chapter 7... Question. What befell the School Life Club? Okay, I have no idea what's going on here. I really just have no idea. Because, we've seen Yuki, right? We saw her as a teacher. With the little kid sort of carrying on the cycle and being the teacher that Megane was to her, and it was all nice and pretty. And that's as an adult. That's before Kurumi, got infected and lost the use of her legs. So what is going on right now? I have no idea. Anyway, we open at we then cut to St. Isidora University secret basement crypt. This is still in the past. It's still in that flashback text background. It's still with Miki in her high school uniform. This might be tied into her meeting Aozoi, because Aozoi was in the basement, right? Miki looks around, though, to think there'd be something like this under the university. And Rise it's her and Rise, I should say. Rise is sort of silent. And then says, but it's, or maybe this is Miki still, but it's strange. Even though I'm sure I've never been down here before, it feels familiar. So we're seeing that recurring theme. I'm thinking this might be a dream sequence. Because Miki has definitely been here. It's some kind of dream she's having. I'm not sure. Though I don't know why that would tie in with... Because it's Kurumi who has the deja vu and the cold open. But now it's Miki, so are they both dreaming? I really just don't know what's going on here. Anyway, Miki continues. The color of the floor, the cool air, the smell. I know it must be deja vu, but... And they get to the door, I think where Aozoi's lab was. And Rise turns back. It's not. And she opens the door. It's marked with this biohazard symbol, which I think is how Aozoi had her door marked. What the fuck? What the fuck? So she's taken to a chamber. And in that chamber, we have clones of Yuki in what looked like Bacta tanks from Star Wars. All nude except with her trademark hat. What the fuck is going on there? I don't know. I don't know what are we supposed to take from this? What the fuck are we supposed to take from this? Like, this is, there are 2 chapters left in this sequel series. I don't know what are they introducing. It has to be a dream, right? It has to be a dream. Anyway, Miki looks around, naturally shocked, but Rise thinks, how many times have we been through this? Maybe it's like a story someone is writing it that's like loosely based off their lives or something. But so I don't know, to tie in with the deja vu thing, if we divorce this chapter from the 77, I think, chapters that have come before in the franchise, I would argue something about they've like the Yuki they buried is one of these clones, and then they've had to get a new clone, and then Miki like forgets is why she has the deja vu, and Rise is like, it's not just deja vu. But what even is going on? Anyway, after Rise has that thought, we then cut to the city. Destroyed via the apocalypse, and some people running across a crosswalk. Maybe these are Randall guys. No, zombies coming up to Kurumi. And Kurumi just kind of placidly kills them all with her shovel. Eyes closed. She sheaths it like a samurai. This definitely has the vibe of being like a story. Like, it's a much more heightened sense of Kurumi than she normally is. Like, Kurumi, back when she had her legs, when she would, fight zombies with her shovel, it would always feel a bit more, like, panicked. Like, she wasn't some trained warrior. She was just a high school girl with a blunt object. But the way she's holding that shovel there feels like a samurai sheathing his sword, I guess. And her with her closed eyes also kind of adds to that. Anyway, we then cut to some dilapidated old house. These, 4 kids are hiding in a room. The window smashes open, and Yuri comes in and hugs them, comforts them. Maybe it's because maybe that girl in the overalls on our left. My first thought was maybe that's Rue. I don't think that's quite what Rue looked like though. Though it has been a long time since we've seen Rue, which would again fit with the sense that this is some kind of story. And wasn't there that mention back in chapter 4 of Letters? The old friend of the Degeneracy Society was writing a story or something. Maybe this is that story. I don't know. We then come to the aircraft carrier, tied in with the nuke launching from the end of the original series. 3 minutes, 30 seconds till launch. And there's this soldier at the laptop, and Miki just whacks him with a sword. Yeah, this is fake. This is fake. I can tell this is fake. Countdown terminated. And Miki turns around and smiles. I made it. But then we come back to that same opening. The shovel. The girl's burying a body. And Kurumi says, I feel like we've done this before. This time, though, Miki and Yuri both agree. Same with me. Yeah. And then she digs some more, and Kurumi then says, I wonder how many times? Twice? 3 times? 100? 1,000? And we see, I think this is Megune. Because we see this, there's another panel here. The first panel has the 3 girls and the corpse. And then we see, the skirt of a dress, and shoes, and, socks that go up to, midway to the knee. Oh, sorry, that's my alarm, my med alarm. I kind of completely forgot about. That's on me. Anyway, we have... So yeah, these shoes. I think this is Megune's outfit. It might also be Yuki's post-time skip or epilogue outfit. It would make sense if she wore something similar to Megune. I'd have to go back and read that final chapter. Either way, it's something. We then cut to this skyscraper that's so tall is covered in clouds. And then we see Yuki, dual-wielding pistols, just shooting zombies, running up the stairs. No matter how many times it takes. There's explosions. It's full-on action movie nonsense here. And these, full of 2-page spreads also. There are so many 2-page spreads in this chapter. Last chapter was about, I think it was 19 pages on manga decks, and all of them were single pages. This is our, I think, 4th 2-page spread in the first 16 pages. There's still 31. Like there's a lot of work getting put in this weird dream sequence. It's really weird. But yeah, she's blasting zombies. There's an explosion. This weird decayed arm pops out to grab her. She shoots at the arm, and then she sees a zombie Kurumi with this like Naginata looking thing, maybe? And she thinks, I will not give up. And she shoots at Kurumi. Kurumi gets on top of her. Yuki kind of holds her off. I don't know how this was to tie in with the Kurumi that's alive and going through some time loop thing and other subplots. This chapter is just so fucking weird. And it's like, why are we, like, here's the thing. There is one chapter after this. And then the next chapter is almost certainly going to be a, like, Yuki's perspective chapter. So I'm just wondering, why are we doing this now? Like, there aren't that many characters to kind of focus on, but we could still, I don't know, have a Sino chapter? I guess. Like, I guess we haven't really had that's kind of the only person. Maybe, the other member of the Degeneracy Society, Hika, I think was her name. Again, my memories of the Degeneracy Society aren't the greatest. Largely, I can remember Rise. I remember Toko because she's super important, and Aki and Rise because they've had focus chapters. But, like, why are we spending this chapter with some weird story? I don't know. Either way, Yuki says, I will not give up. While Kurumi's on top of her, she manages to grab her pistol and points it at Kurumi. And then we cut to the sounds of, like, scribbling. We see an ashtray full of used cigarettes, and Aozoi writing something in front of her computer screen, kind of panicking. No way. Impossible. It cannot exist in this world. And there's all these notes there. We have a translation at the end of the chapter, which we'll get to eventually. Again, don't know what this is about. The English words we can see are clearly Ouroboros, Haiti, serpent, which we're tying with Ouroboros. And then, I don't know what that, something with a J and a C. I don't know. Cannot exist in this world. The Serpent Maiden. The Demon of the Crossroads. Saturday's Baron. What happened? You can't turn back time. Loops are a fantasy. And then we see Megane, kind of approaching Aozoi from behind. Everything is approaching the end. This is the end. The end of the end. And this ghost Megane kind of reaches for Aozoi's neck. And then we see Yuki lying in the snow. This chapter's just a fucking fever dream. Sort of sitting there, cold. It's so cold. That broth left over from yesterday's cup ramen. I should have drank it. And then we see the original Yuki? Sort of a ghostly Yuki hovering over this Yuki. And the physical Yuki just looks at her. No fair. Don't look at me like that. And she sits up, kneeling, crying, holding the gun. And the ghost kind of points away. The physical Yuki turns to look. And we see someone clenching their arm. And Yuki kind of asserts her, or gets her determination. After this, it's all over. And she kind of walks away. The ghost Yuki looks off at her as she fades. It's just a weird chapter. And we then come back to the same dig. Aozoi sort of mentions this time loop. I'm really unclear how seriously I should even, like, take this chapter. Like, should I really dig into how Aozoi's rant kind of ties into the loops we've been seeing? I don't know. How serious should I take this? This chapter's just so fucking weird. Anyway, we come back to that same opening scene. How many times now? 100? 1,000? 10,000? 100,000? And Miki tells her, I think we did everything we could. And Kurumi kind of rests her foot on her shovel. Yuri tells her, yes, I think so too. And then Kurumi gets back to digging, and we see Megane again. This time from, like, the legs up. Legs to, like, neck is where we kind of see her. And then I think this is Yuri's line. That's why I think I'm okay with this. And what we see are 3 graves. 1 for each of them, maybe. And then we see 3 crosses, and Megane standing at their graves. And then we see Megane standing at those same kind of cloning Bacta tank looking things, each with Yuri, Kurumi, and Miki in them. who both just kind of float there. What is fucking going on? And then the Yuki walks in, and Megane turns to look at her, and kind of smiles. You finally made it. And Yuki gets a look at the girls in the tanks. Kurumi-chan, Mikun, Risan! And then Megane walks towards her. This is nothing to be sad about. They just returned to where they belong, that's all. Now Yuki-chan, you'll come back home too. And Yuki presses, who are you? And that kind of stuns Megane. I'm not sure if the implication is that this Yuki doesn't know Megane, or if this Megane is so different from the real Megane that it kind of shakes Yuki. Again, all really fucking weird stuff going on. And we see, like, what must be the trippiest imagery the series has ever given us. Megane starts to split from, like, her hair part. Her eyes white out, and, like, inside her head, we see planets and monsters and stars and just all kinds of shit. And we finally cut to to Miki reading all this, like, just like what I'm saying, what the fuck is going on? Thank you, Miki. And we see the script, the text she's been reading. There's a translation after the chapter, same thing with Aosoi's notes. And Toko asks, or something along those lines, what do you think? And Miki just looks at her, what do I think? I don't even know what this is. Could you explain it from the beginning? I thought I'd write your story. A fiction? And there's a pun here, according to the translator. Toko says denki, as in biography / true story. Miki responds with denki, as in fiction romance, which I guess are pronounced the same but have vastly different meanings. And then, but fuck trying to work that into the line. Which is fair, I have no idea how you would work that into the line. Yeah. And Toko goes on, the story of you in the School Life Club. I believe everyone has a right to know how you save the world. I mean, that's not what is even going on. And Miki just sort of sits there silently. If possible, I'd make it into a movie. That way, everyone would be able to see it. A movie? They don't really have movie equipment anymore. We could record it with a smartphone. We could then make copies onto memory cards and pass it around. It'd be great. I see. And then finally Miki comes to her senses. Wait, hold on. What part of this is biographical? And Toko kind of rubs her head. Well, we had an all-night script brainstorming session and, well, we got a little overexcited. And Miki just shuts her down. No. What if people start believing this is what actually happened? And Toko just presses, huh? And then I think Miki leaves and then sort of sighs. Sheesh. What a pain. And then she looks at, like, the reader, I think. You absolutely must not believe any of this. Kakogarashi Odayori concludes in the next issue. Look forward to Kurara Forward's issue 10 in August. So yeah, that will be in a few weeks, I think, is when that'll be coming out. Next issue is the finale, as I kind of alluded to. We have all these translator notes. I'm not really going to dig in here. Looking at the last one, the last translation especially, is just basically what we saw with that last part of the script fantasy. And then there's, all this nonsense is not super important in Aosoi's notes because it's not even real in universe. This chapter is just a choice. Like, what is even supposed to be going on here? I can't make heads or tails of it. Why is Kurumi alive in some bits and then a zombie fighting Yuki and others? Like, what was going on from Toko's perspective? And this is certainly me thinking way too hard about this. It's supposed to be a dumb movie. But God, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on? There's a time loop, there's hundreds of Yuki clones, they've been burying Yuki 100,000 times. I mean, points for audaciousness, I guess. And I do like that last page of Megane, like, splitting in two. It's a really cool visual. And the art style looks completely different on that last panel of that page. It's a really neat panel. But, like, on the one hand, it's the problem. The problem I think is twofold. One, it's just so fucking weird. It's just so fucking weird. And two, we have one more chapter after this. So why if Kaiho knew he'd have two more chapters after the last one, wouldn't you want to spend both chapters with like actual development or character exploration like Odayori has been doing the whole time? Like, what makes this series so good is that there's, because the plot is over, it's just sort of, let's see how these characters have grown over the past few years after the main series ended. And its best chapters have kind of dealt with the ramifications of what happened in the past and how the characters are moving forward. Both Miki and Aki's chapters are masterpieces because of that. And we could have had that. I could see that kind of plotline working with someone like Sino, who changed sides over the course of the conflict in Isidore. But we don't get that. We just don't get that. We get, with those 4 2-page spreads, I believe 30 pages of the weirdest fucking movie idea I've seen in a while. It's weird. It's just weird. And it's even just like a little bit overly like this random fourth wall break at the end is also weird. When Miki looks at the audience, you absolutely must not believe any of this. It's just a weird fucking chapter. The end is funny, and this Miki face is like thumbnail automatic right there. Like, that's just some good quality reaction images. But it's just such a weird chapter. I don't know why did you do this, Kaiho? I don't know. I guess I had a fun time reading it, just being completely confused. But it's just a weird chapter, and I don't know. I hope next chapter is almost certainly going to be a Yuki chapter, and I want to kind of see Yuki's story end. And yeah, it's gonna be a great time next time. But this chapter was just so weird. But yeah, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or, do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!